Thank you for coming to the webinar. This is for ARC Wireless. We will have Chad running it, and he will go over all the equipment. And if anybody has any questions, feel free to write them in the question box, or you can ask them at the end. I will track them, and we will answer all the questions at the end of the webinar. And Chad, I'm going to put it over to you.
Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. So my name is Chad Dewey. I'm the CTO over at ARC Wireless. We'll give you guys a quick overview of all of our products today and kind of who ARC Wireless is, and then we'll open it up for questions, as Crystal stated. So ARC Wireless, we've been designing antennas since 1987. We created originally base station antennas for AT&T, Sprint, and all of the major carriers through the 90s and into the 2000s. In 2000s, we jumped over to the wireless unlicensed antenna space, so 2.4, 5, and 3 gigahertz. And then here later this year, we've been doing licensed again in dishes between 6 gigahertz all the way up to 38 gigahertz. So quick overview of our lineup. We have our unlicensed dish antennas, 4.9 to 5.8 gigahertz, dual pole. We have these shipping today in 2-foot and 3-foot versions, so like 30 dBi and 34 dBi. We have our sector antennas. We have an 8-element array, which is an 18 dB antenna. It's got a variable beam, which allows for 60, 90, and 120 degree beams in one skew. We have our omnis that allow for 360 degree coverage. We have our panel antennas. Our panel antennas can be shipped in multiple configurations. We have a standalone panel antenna that will mount with any radio with outdoor type-in connectors. And then we have ones that will match up to our IES enclosure. Our IES enclosure is designed to optimize the OEM production. So if you're working with a Microcom board or you're doing your own board, as long as it fits within a 7.5 inch by 7.5 inch window, you have a full IP67 enclosure and antenna combination for your radio. And then we have cable as well, which is a Cat6 cable that is outdoor rated, so UV stabilized, double shielded cable. Oh, crazy there. So as I talked about, so the ARC IES enclosure, this is our flagship product. This is what we ship the most of. As you can see, our enclosures have multiple options. So you can just do a straight up enclosure that is an IP67 for a standalone unit, whether you're wanting to put your radio onto an Ethernet camera, or you can attach omnis directly to the enclosure, or you can pair it up with one of our panel antennas for point-to-point or like a CPE link. It's a quick overview. So our floor on the bottom allows for the mounting of any board. You just get a radio install tool designed to match up perfectly with your board, and it allows for installations within minutes with the use of these simple tools and then the swivel posts. You can then choose your feed-through point. So for your PoE injector, we have the cable gland that will allow for direct connect with the connector already installed. Other options that we have, you can see there's white plastic and see-through plastic. White plastic and see-through plastic, so you have LED viewability if needed, or just kind of a clean outer look. And then like I said, the cable can be plugged in directly outside with the connector on, and then you have a full IP67 box. So shown here is one of the enclosures with an omni antenna for an example. All of these antennas ship with all these enclosures ship with the ARC ABS bracket. It's got a ball joint, which allows for infinite adjustment for polarity optimizations, or depending on however your pole is. So you can get all of your adjustments perfectly made and easily with this sturdy ABS bracket. For the antenna side, we cover from 900 megahertz all the way up to 5.8 gigahertz, single pole, dual pole, and we have dual band and quad pole antennas that can be done as well. One point I'll cover on this. So if you're doing like a single pole antenna, just by changing the mount between the enclosure and the antenna, you can choose between horizontal and vertical polarity. So it's a very simple selection to be able to choose. The ARC Excite dish. So this is the 4.9 to 5.8 gigahertz dish. Again, there's a 30 dBi 2-foot model and a 34 dBi 3-foot model. What separates our dish from the other dishes out there, for instance, the rocket dish or the layered dish, is our high port-to-port isolation. So you can maximize your throughput on your backhaul links with our greater than 40 dBi port-to-port isolation. We also have the pole mount here, which allows for mounting of either our IES enclosure, the rocket, or any OEM radio that you're trying to mount to. So to minimize your RF cable loss, you can have quick jumpers from here to your enclosure here. All the pigtails are included with each antenna. We have a type N to RPSMA, and we have a type N to type N cable. So this is 4 total pigtails are shipped in each and every antenna. So here's just kind of one option of a configuration that people use. So mounting it with our IES and either placing a panel antenna on here for a quick downlink from their backhaul, or just mounting, for instance, in this case, a Microcom board. The variable sector antenna. So as we discussed, in one model, you get 60, 90, and 120 degree beams. These are selected through quick mechanical adjustments that are located on the back of the antenna. All the antennas have rear type-in weatherproof connectors out the back, and we also, with these, ship the same pigtails, so the 4 pigtails, type-in to RPSMA and type-in to type-in. So we have an 8-element array, which will give you the 18 dBi, which we discussed. We've got the 16-element array, which will give you a 21 dBi peak gain at 5 gigahertz. And then in 2.4 gigahertz, we have the 18 dBi model. Our dual pole omni antennas, these are very ruggedized units made for the harshest of environments. So similar, it's got the type-in connectors out the base, ships with the 4 pigtails as discussed, the same with sector and dish antennas. These are shipping in 2.4 and 5 gigahertz and 10 dBi and 13 dBi models for both. Okay, and then more detail here on our Flex 6 cable. So as you can see, there's the outer braid, the inner foil, drain wire, and then the anti-crosstalk divider. So it's a very robust outdoor cable. Again, we've tested it in several cases with the UV, and it's holding up very well to UV in the year and a half since we've had this product out on the market. One option that we do sell with our Flex 6 cable is the locking system. So with the addition of a boot and then a lock, you can see the this red clip here will actually slip into the boot and become a secure locking mechanism, preventing any tampering with the device. And then we sell a simple key that allows for removal of the pin after, if any optimizations are needed or you need to switch out the device. Okay. At this point, I'll turn it back over to Crystal and open the floor to questions.
All right. Great job, Chad. Thank you. All right, so we have, let's see, 3 questions. One, what would be the best product for a large office building?
It depends how large. Pairing up it'll depend on how many users you have as well. And this is where the Microcom team can really optimize everything to pair up the right antenna product with whatever radio you're using. If you've got a low number of users, you can certainly put up, a single Omni in the middle. You can pair up and do like the ARC IES enclosure and do 4 to 5 access points throughout the building with, for example, like a Microtic radio. So again, I encourage you to work with the Microcom team and determine the right number of users that need the coverage more so than the large office building. Perfect.
Okay. Next question is, what is your best-selling product?
As far as the highest number of units sold, it is our 23 dBi dual-pole 5.8 gigahertz panel antenna. It's got the 40 dB port-to-port isolation, and people pair it up with the Microtic 411, 711, and 9. I'm forgetting the 900 board. With either the enclosure or the standalone. So that is our #1 selling product.
Perfect. Okay. And the last question is, what product would you recommend for an average home?
And this is for like a backhaul link, or this is for just creating a Wi-Fi network within the home?
Yes, I think the Wi-Fi.
Okay with them. So doing something similar to this model here. So if you were doing like a Microtic or Ubiquity Unify AP, pairing it up with Omni antennas in the enclosure would probably be the best solution for the home. Although it's much more ruggedized than they would need, but that would be our most simple home access point.
Okay, perfect. All right, well, I guess we'll wrap it up. If anybody has any questions, you can contact sales at microcom.us, and we will get you in contact with whoever you need to be in contact with. You can also visit the website at www.microcom.us. And feel free to email any questions you have. Thank you all for attending. Thank you, Chad.
Thank you, everybody.
Hope everybody has a good day.